Imagine criticizing a $1 billion company online and in return they send a team of operatives to stalk you. This isn't a plot of a movie. This actually happened to a 60-year-old woman in Massachusetts. And the perpetrators weren't internet trolls, they were the highest ranking executives at eBay. This is the true story of how a massive corporation spent months trying to psychologically destroy an elderly couple. And the infuriating reason that masterminds completely got away with it. Meet Ina and David Steiner. They're a married couple in their 60s, living a quiet life in Natick, Massachusetts. Out of their home, they run a niche e-commerce blog called E-commerce Bites. It's where Ina writes news and updates for people who sell things at platforms like Amazon, Etsy, and eBay. But in the summer of 2019, Ina writes an article that changed their lives forever. She writes a piece criticizing the CEO of eBay, Devin Wenig. She points out that Wenig takes home $18 million a year, which is 152 times what a regular eBay employee makes. Thousands of people read the blog, and the comment section went wild. People started calling Wenig an overpaid empty suit. The communications director at eBay, a guy named Steve Weimer, sees the article and he sends it straight to the CEO. Wenig gets furious and he pulls out his phone and texts his comms director 3 words: "Take her down." Weimer texts back and says, "We are going to crush this lady and I want to see ashes whatever it takes." And with those texts, a terrifying corporate revenge plot is set into motion against 2 innocent people who have no idea what's about to hit them. It starts online. Ina suddenly starts receiving intimidating Twitter messages, anonymous accounts are threatened to leak her home address, then digital threats become physical. Ina opens it and it is back to full live crawling cockroaches. A few days later, another box arrives. This one is full of live fly larvae and venomous spiders. But eBay's security team isn't done yet. Strangers started showing up at Ina and David's house at all hours of the night, but they don't knock. They try turning the doorknob and just walking right in. Ina and David are absolutely terrified. Why are random people trying to enter their home? They search the internet and discover something horrifying. Someone had posted their home address in multiple Craigslist ads for late-night sex parties, specifically inviting strangers to come right in, no need to knock. At this point, the Steiners call the Natick police. An officer comes out to take a report, and as he's leaving, he notices another package. Sitting on the porch, Ina opens it and lets out a scream. Inside is a bloody, fleshy pig mask, identical to the one worn by the killer in the movie Saw, and the police officer is standing right there to witness the entire thing. Minutes later, Ina gets a DM from an anonymous account. "Did you get my gifts? Do I have your attention now?" Despite being utterly traumatized, Ina refuses to be intimidated. She doesn't shut down her website. In fact, she writes another article. This time, she criticizes the CEO for wasting company money to build an exact replica for his favorite New York City bar right on eBay's campus, all while raising fees on struggling sellers. The eBay comms director reads it and texts his security team, "I want her down. She is a biased troll who needs to get burned down." So the harassment goes to a sickening new level. David receives a book in the mail on how to survive the loss of a spouse. Next day, a funeral wreath arrives. They're actively threatening to murder his wife. Around the same time, the head of eBay's global security, a man named Jim Baugh, flies from California to Massachusetts with 3 other security employees. They rent a silver Dodge Caravan and begin physically stalking the Steiners. They park outside their house. They follow David every single time he leaves the house. They even plot to break into the Steiners' garage to plant GPS trackers on their car. Just try to imagine the psychological toll this takes. Anna and David are so afraid that they start sleeping in separate bedrooms, just so if an assassin breaks in, at least one of them has a chance to escape or report the police. David stops sleeping and he stays awake, checking the security cameras every 2 hours. They become prisoners in their own home. They even stop trusting the mail and grocery deliveries, and eventually, they start running out of food. One afternoon, David literally has no choice. He has to get the groceries, so he gets out in his car and drives down the street. But immediately he notices a silver van in his rearview mirror. David takes a sudden turn, the van takes the turn. He speeds up and takes another hard turn, the van is still locked onto him. Panicking, David calls the police. He screams, "I'm being followed!" He whips his car around and drives straight to the Natick police station. When the stalkers realize where they are, they slam on the gas and speed away. David stumbles out of his car at the police station. His heart is racing, his chest is tight, and he's struggling to breathe from the sheer terror of being hunted by those people. But in his panic, David managed to do one crucial thing. He memorized the license plate. The police run the plates, and suddenly the entire mystery unravels. The van was rented to a woman who worked as an intelligence contractor for eBay. The local police immediately called the FBI. The feds raid eBay's security team, seized their phones, traced the deliveries, the Craigslist ads, and the threatening texts straight to the top of the corporate ladder. 7 members of eBay's security team are arrested. All 7 plead guilty, with the head of security, Jim Baugh, getting nearly 5 years in federal prison. But if you think justice was fully served, brace yourself, because the executives who ordered the hit, the men who said, "Take her down and I want to see her ashes," they completely got away with it. eBay conducted an internal investigation and, shocker, determined the CEO did not technically commit a crime. Devin Bennick stepped down as a CEO, but he walked away. With a $57 million severance package, he now sits on the board for directors of General Motors. Steve Weimer, the Combs director, faced 0 criminal charges. In fact, shortly after the scandal, he landed a job as a highly paid CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Silicon Valley. As for eBay, the corporation, the government fined them $3 million, which is, for a $1 billion company, is basically the equivalent of a parking ticket. Fortunately, Anna and David survived. They refused to be silenced, and they still run e-commerce sites today. In 2024, they finally settled a massive civil lawsuit against eBay for an undisclosed amount. Given what they went through, we can only hope it was the tens of millions. But what do you guys think? Should the CEO of eBay have gone to federal prison right next to his security team? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It really helps the channel out. And if you want to hear more insane true stories of corporate corruption, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.